There are many times when we experience discomfort on our journeys and things become uncomfortable. This causes a lot of stress, frustration, and ultimately dissatisfaction. How do we navigate during these challenging times? Listen as I share the beautiful reflection, Growth Through Discomfort. Hello and welcome to the Beautiful Reflections podcast. I'm your host, Katherine Johnson, a certified professional coach, mentor, writer, and speaker. I help ambitious career women gain the clarity, courage, and confidence to pursue their greater purpose and vision so that they can have fulfillment and thrive purposefully in their careers and life. I believe there is beauty in our voices, beauty in our stories, and beauty in our journeys. There is power in community, connection, and deep, meaningful conversation, which is why me and my guests are here to share our stories, experiences, lessons, and learnings to inspire you as you walk the path and step into your next level. We go deep, sharing beautiful reflections or the beauty that life has offered for us to see on our journeys in order to grow and evolve. It is my mission to empower you to believe in your power, to embrace your own uniqueness, and to be the best version of you. I want to see you move forward confidently, pursuing the bigger goals and dreams that you truly desire. Now on to the episode for today. There's a lot we can learn about discomfort and growth from how lobsters grow. Unlike its rigid shell, a lobster is a soft and mushy animal. The lobster's rigid shell doesn't grow or expand. When a lobster is growing, its shell starts to feel restricting. As a result, the lobster feels pressure, discomfort, and becomes uncomfortable. So the lobster finds a rock formation and goes underneath it to protect itself from predatory fish. Then the lobster sheds its shell and produces a new one. As the lobster continues to grow, eventually the new shell becomes uncomfortable again. So it goes back under a rock formation and repeats this process again and again. So in order for a lobster to grow, it must continuously cast off its shell. And the only way a lobster is aware of this process is that it feels under pressure and discomfort by the confining nature of its existing shell that has become too small to support its growing body. I find this story very interesting and fascinating. So when the lobster is faced with the discomfort, first, the lobster identifies the problem. I feel like the lobster is like, uh-oh, something's wrong here. And it concludes this shell is a problem. Second, the lobster responds to what's happening. Because it's feeling discomfort, it realizes it has to do something quickly. And third, the lobster takes action. It instinctively knows to do something because it can't just stay in its current predicament. Not only is its growth stifled, but there are other risks as well, like continued discomfort, predators, and the risk of death. These things lead me to believe that the lobster has to have a perspective that it chooses. It's faced with the challenge, it feels the discomfort, and uses that as stimulus that ultimately helps it to grow again and again. If the lobster didn't feel any stimulus or pressure and discomfort, it wouldn't be able to grow. I like this story as an illustration for how we can use discomfort to help us grow. Now we can all relate to feeling discomfort in our lives or when a situation has become uncomfortable. Like when we find ourselves in a job or a career that we no longer enjoy, we feel like something is missing. We're seeking greater life meaning and purpose. We desire to be of service and to use our God-given gifts and talents. And we want freedom with our time and flexibility with our finances. So we find ourselves in an uncomfortable place. And at the onset, quite uncertain about what it all means. After all, we've worked hard to get to where we are. We're successful in our careers, and on one hand, things are good, except that waking up and going to work every day has become a drag. We've lost the excitement and enthusiasm. As a result, we're stressed and frustrated and ultimately lacking fulfillment. Similar to a lobster shell that no longer accommodates its growth, our environment becomes uncomfortable. It's restricting. Maybe our voice is being stifled. Maybe there's no room for growth or advancement. Maybe we have other passions we like to explore. Maybe we're seeking greater meaning and purpose in our work. We want to feel like we're making a difference and a contribution to the greater good. So what do? This is where we can learn from the lobster. First, we identify the problem. This job or career, it's no longer working for me. Second, we respond by making a decision to do something about the situation. And third, we take action quickly by making a move to alleviate the discomfort that we're feeling. I think we can also learn a lot from what the lobster doesn't do. Notice that the lobster doesn't question, why is this happening to me? The lobster doesn't doubt, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the problem. Or maybe miraculously, the circumstances will change and I'll feel good again. This is like the lobster hoping and praying that shell will grow. The lobster doesn't just deal with it. Well, it's really not that bad. I'll just wait it out. Maybe it will get better. Maybe the discomfort will go away. And the lobster definitely doesn't play the victim. Woe is me. It's just my luck. Bad things like this always happen to me. I'd like to think that the lobster relies on its instinctive knowing that it can do something to change its circumstances. Also, I think the lobster chooses the perspective that will allow it to grow. John Maxwell said, if we're growing, we're always going to be out of our comfort zone. Imagine how this must feel to a lobster. Its body is growing and the protective shell becomes a weight instead of a comfortable protection because its body is now growing and the shell no longer fits. Imagine your toes growing out of your shoes or your fingers growing out of your gloves and you're unable to remove either of them easily, but you still have to somehow find a way to walk and work. So perhaps the discomfort is merely the stimulus, propelling us, helping us to grow, allowing us to move forward confidently into our greater purpose and vision. Naturally, we attribute growth as hard and painful, and truthfully, in most cases, it is. But in order to continue to grow and evolve, doesn't it have to be? If we never felt discomfort, never had challenges, never felt emotions like stress and frustration or yearnings for more and greater, how would we sense the need for a change? And maybe that's what we're really afraid of, the stretching that growth requires. Stretching beyond who we are, what we know, and what we believe. Without that discomfort as a catalyst, we'd likely choose comfort over anything. Yet it's through the discomfort and all of the feelings that it brings that we become willing to seek the answers to experience something different. In order to step into what's next, we have to shift our perspective of discomfort during life's challenging moments. Choosing to acknowledge what's there, like the job or career that's not a fit. Choosing to view discomfort as stimulus, signaling that a change is necessary. Choosing to trust our inner knowing, believing that we know what we need to do, and choosing to see the opportunity to make a move so that we can grow. Now, in hindsight, we can look back on our most challenging life experiences and see something that was there for us to learn. Even if it took us a few times to get the lesson, we can usually see how it helped us to grow and evolve in some way. Or we can see something that it taught us about ourselves, maybe a trait or characteristic that was strengthened during the process. The key is the perspective that we choose. The beautiful reflection is that discomfort serves as an indication that it's time to move and something needs to change so that we can grow. Life is really doing its job, trying to get our attention and wake us up to the fact that there's more available to us, trying to propel us towards our bigger goals, dreams, and desires, towards our greater purpose and vision that's waiting on us so that we can have the fulfillment and thrive purposefully. So here are 3 self-reflection questions for you to consider. What's causing you the most discomfort right now? What could life be presenting for you to notice? What's a perspective that you could choose to support your growth? I challenge you this week to take inventory of every area of your life where there's discomfort. Maybe it's your career or work, a relationship, finances, business, health, or well-being. Notice how it's making you feel. Maybe there's a lot of stress, frustration, anxiety, or dissatisfaction. Then make one decision in every area. That decision can be as simple as, I'm ready to address this area and do something about it. Then commit to taking inspired action. Every step counts. In fact, it's the small, consistent steps that move you the furthest and the fastest over time. Lastly, make sure that you choose a perspective that's going to support you in moving forward confidently. knowing that life is happening for you, always offering a beautiful reflection for you to see. Thank you for listening to the Beautiful Reflections podcast. Are you ready for more? We're now hosting a monthly live stream series, Beautiful Conversations, where we take these reflections deeper to help you step into your next level. Click the link in the show notes and sign up to join the conversation. If you're enjoying the podcast, please take a minute and leave us a rating and a review and share the podcast with someone you know. I'd love to hear from you. Use the links in the show notes to connect with me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Send me an email, DM, or use the hashtag Beautiful Reflections Podcast on Instagram and share the beautiful reflection that life is offering you on your journey. Until next time.